Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute since I posted. I'm back with another gouache painting. I've been practicing working with gouache more and doing different studies, so that's kind of what I have for you today. I don't often work with the color palette with a lot of reds, so this one was a bit different for me. And I think for the two reds I used the cadmium red light and then the alizarin crimson. And I definitely do not work with alizarin crimson a lot, so this one was very interesting and different, and I enjoyed building different red colors using the alizarin crimson. So I started by mixing a little bit of the alizarin crimson and black to get some of these darker areas, and I think I've mentioned it before in previous videos, but I work a lot with going back and forth between painting in the darkest spots and also the lightest spots. So that's what I kind of did today for this video. And for some areas it was just solely the black, but other areas it felt like when I was looking at the reference there was a little bit more red in certain shadow areas, so I added more of the alizarin crimson to it to give it a little bit more depth. And as you see on the right, I'm working with a new painting palette. It is a ceramic square palette that I got off Amazon, and I've actually been seeing a lot of different people working with it in their videos, and I was like, it looks interesting, what is that? Because previously before I was working with a plastic round palette that was meant more so for watercolor, and I noticed with it in terms of the gouache it stains on the plastic palette, and I didn't like that, and it isn't the most easiest cleanup. So I found this one and I thought this one seems like it'd be a little bit more easier to work with. So I got it and I started painting with it, and it's amazing. I love the cleanup. It's so easy to reactivate the paint. I have a little spray bottle that I have to the side that every now and then if I feel like the paint is drying out, I just spray it and it reactivates, and it doesn't stain the ceramic, so that's really nice. So now I'm just going into the actual building to the right and painting in this kind of gradation that's there from medium red to a really dark red. And I went over this a few times, just building upon it. Usually when I'm working with gouache, I don't like to start super dark or with super thick gouache. I water it down a lot, I feel like, just to get the kind of underpainting, if you will, down, and then I go over and kind of just build from there. Yeah, so I'm going back and forth at this point, working with the dark areas that are basically black, and then the areas with more of a medium to dark red. Oh, and I also got a new setup as far as being able to record with my phone. Previously, before, I had to set up a whole bunch of different stuff. Now I'm just going into the bottom layer, just adding a little bit of blue, and adding the blue into the window. I started adding the different colors to get the sidewalk down, but later on I realized, to be honest, I think I could have waited to build on the sidewalk because I wound up going back to the main building within this piece and working on that a lot to get it more to completion. So the red and blue that I initially put down before adding that gray color to the sidewalk dried up, and I wanted to do a kind of wet on wet technique to blend it and have this cool mix of colors. So I feel like I wasn't quite able to get that the way I wanted it to because I started working on the sidewalk too soon. And then I'm working on the building right now. As far as the building goes, when I did the sketch, I sketched in the windows, as you can see, the blank spaces, and I did mess up on the perspective, which is something I noticed a little bit more towards the end once a lot of the colors were kind of laid in. So I was thinking too, it was a little bit difficult to just do this gradation that I'm working on with the medium red to dark red, because I had the negative spaces that I was trying to avoid, which were eventually going to become the windows. So I thought maybe I should have just painted it all, and then after that dried, went over it with white to start painting in the windows. But the thing is, it's a lot more harder to paint white over a dark color because I'd have to do a bunch of different passes till I finally could get it to a light enough color that I would be able to go over it with the actual color it was supposed to be. So now you see I'm just kind of getting it darker, trying to eventually work on blending it out. I really like this red. I felt like it was like, kind of reminds you of like a candy red apple type of color. It was a nice like dark red color. Now I'm going into this like lower part of the building, adding in this like dark black color. This in total I think took me around 3 hours and like 33 minutes, which was a very long time, but that wasn't necessarily me just painting the whole entire time consistently. Like I took a bunch of breaks, and I don't quite remember if I did this all in one sitting or if I did it a little bit one day and then like finished it the next day, because that's what I did with the previous painting that I worked on. But I think if I was like sitting down consistently and not taking as many breaks, I probably could have done it a lot sooner. And then like I have the other issue with this, there was text on the building, which is what I'm working on right now. And I was questioning whether or not I should have just went over that area in like the black color and then gone over it after it dried with the white to like write out the letters, because I feel like it's extremely hard to try to go in and like paint around the letters versus maybe just painting the white letters on top of the black layer. So that's something I'm still trying to kind of figure out whether or not that was like the best choice with this. So yeah, just painting the top portion with the black, filling in those white spaces. This particular portion I'm working on right now, I was wondering too whether or not I should have gone over it with another pass to get a more like evenly like coat of paint, or if it looks okay, kind of looking sort of worn down. If you made it this far, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notification bells. It is greatly appreciated. Just going in and cleaning it up. I talked about this in the previous video, but I'm just so happy that I finally got this like liner brush. It helps me a lot getting like those really like fine like spaces that I need to like fill in, or just painting lines and things of that sort. I kind of have like my 3 to 4 main brushes that I use for like every painting that I work on, and most of them are pretty small, but I'm just so accustomed to using them. Like, I find it difficult sometimes to use like the larger brushes to cover more of a larger area. I think I broke a record with this video as well. This video is so like long initially in like its raw form that I have to speed it up like a considerable amount. Like, I finally got it down to around 21-22 minutes. So it isn't the shortest video I've ever posted, but I felt like it was considerably short considering how long it actually is in real time. Just going in there with the liner brush, painting this other area with the black. I think I wound up switching the brush because I was using the liner brush and it was just taking a little too long to get that specific like corner area at the bottom. So yeah, going back over that, trying to get a more even coat. It's interesting, I looked up this actual place. I did change the text within this piece because it was something completely different. But I looked up the place based off like the photo reference. Oh, and if you're interested, the photo reference will be linked below in the description box. But I looked up this place and like I saw a whole bunch of different pictures on like Google, and it's interesting like how every picture looks kind of like a little bit different, you know? So I was like, that's very interesting, because on the photo reference that I use, it's lit up, but it's not as lit up as it like is in other photos. Like, it's really like this bright red from all the different neon signs that are on the building. And I think they said this is a place in London, which I don't know why, it was giving me kind of like a New York City type of vibe. So I was a little bit surprised when I found that out. Going in and filling in the colors more, and I feel like it's starting to come together with these like bright colored windows and the more like even layers of black that I put in. Something I really enjoy when it comes to painting, no matter what medium, is like blending, and I tend to like to blend like wet on wet instead of like wet on dry. I feel like I'm more like confident in terms of like blending wet and wet. But I am trying to work on finding other ways to blend out, because I know for like instance with acrylic, sometimes when I'm working with acrylic it dries so fast I don't even have the opportunity to really like blend the way I want to. So I've watched like other painting videos from other people on YouTube when they work with like acrylic or maybe even gouache, trying to see kind of like what do other people do like when they're blending. Because that's one of the things I really enjoy about oil painting, is takes forever for it to dry, so I feel like you can always for the most part blend, but like it's not always the case with other mediums. Now just going in, filling in the windows. I feel like the red and the blue and the yellows work so well together.